Hello, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Wilson. He's our 4-year-old border collie boxer mix. And the other day he had an accident and he scratched his cornea. We went to the vet and she prescribed some antibiotic eye drops. And of course, as you can imagine, dogs don't really like to have eye drops put in their eyes. And Wilson didn't like it either. In fact, he would run and go the other way. I was thinking, how could we get him to, take his medicine? Well, what we did was simply probably the same thing you would do, and that is we started giving him a little treat. You know what that word is, don't you? Every time he did his eye drops right. And so let's see if we can make it work. Wilson, eye drops, eye drops. Good boy. Treat if you do your eye drops. Look at me. Good dog. Good. Good boy. That's right. Yeah. Now, right after the eye drops, you can see what he's wanting, right? We have to give him a treat. That was a good dog. Good eye drops. Yeah. Good boy. Sit down. Maybe you'll get another one in a minute. So I was thinking about that, and I thought, there's something to be learned here in teaching as well. Since the antibiotic eye drops have to be administered 4 times a day, they don't last very long. We were doing this for quite a while, and it went from wrestling him to the ground practically to he'll tolerate it. And quickly though, he learned that if I let these eye drops be put in my eye, I get a treat. It doesn't hurt, doesn't sting. It's just sort of an abnormal thing for a dog, right? But now, as you just saw, he pretty much lets me put eye drops in his eyes anytime because he knows there's a treat coming. So I was thinking, there's some things we can learn about that, about giving feedback, about how often we do it, about how specifically we do it. And so I was thinking to myself, there are some lessons to be learned here for the classroom. So just watching how quickly Wilson picked up the idea of how to get his eye drops made me think about the science behind performance feedback. Let's just do a quick check-in on what we know about classroom performance feedback. So we know that feedback is best when it has these 3 characteristics. Number 1, it's abundant. Number 2, it's immediate. And number 3, it's specific. So abundant feedback just means, well, a lot of feedback is better than just a little bit of feedback. I think what really helped Wilson was that he had to get his eye drops 4 times a day. And that just amount of feedback really helped him to learn the process quickly. Secondly, we want feedback to be immediate. Now, this is not as important with humans as it is with animals, but the point's still the same, isn't it? You wouldn't give Wilson a treat and say, nice rollover 2 weeks ago. You'd have to make sure it's right after the behavior. So we know that in the classroom, immediate feedback means right on the spot. A little bad news about immediate feedback. For feedback to really be powerful and productive, we think it needs to return to the student in about the time the student can hold their breath. So overnight feedback or feedback that comes hours later, still a good idea, but not nearly as powerful as immediate feedback. The third characteristic we know from the science on feedback is that it has to be specific, right? And this holds for dogs and kids. Wilson needs to know why he's getting the treat. Good eye drops, right? So we have to give feedback to students in a way that they know specifically what the feedback is about. The idea of just saying, good job, nice paper, you solved that problem very well. That's better than no feedback, but the feedback to be of maximum value really needs to be specific. What a great opening sentence, Sarah, in your persuasive paragraph. Let's look at how your elaborations could make that opening sentence even more effective. That type of specific feedback we know is even more valuable. So feedback is great. What makes it great? A lot of it, not just a little, right away, not delayed, and specific, not general. Now in the classroom, when we get abundant, immediate, and specific feedback, we think what we get from students is persistence. Right? Persistence is stick-to-itiveness. Whenever you're getting a lot of feedback, your brain sort of codes to just keep going. That's what makes video games so hard to put down, right? They're designed to give you abundant, immediate, and specific feedback. And that helps your persistence, and that's what helps your learning. Now let's take one more step. What if we could take this feedback effect, abundant, immediate, and specific learning feedback to students, and we could gain this persistence that comes from it? And then what if we could loop that? What if we could make it happen again and again and again and again? Not just once, but a loop of feedback. Try it, get feedback, learn, improve. Try it, feedback, learn, improve. We think this looping effect actually acts as a multiplier on the persistence. And that's really what happened with Wilson, isn't it? You know, he learned something and we just kept giving the feedback loop. Here's your eye drops, here's your treat, learn, improve, learn, improve. Those are some of the things about feedback that I was thinking we could learn from working with Wilson. So obviously, dogs and students are two completely different ideas. You know, a student's brain is much more sophisticated and than a dog's brain is. But you know, the essential principle holds, doesn't it? Feedback always accelerates learning, and looped feedback multiplies that accelerating effect. So whether it's with students or whether it's with dogs, the idea of making the feedback abundant and immediate and specific accelerates learning. Looping the feedback, so you get lots of rounds of feedback, one right after the other, even increases that enhancing effect. You know, the thing that I'm worried about is Wilson's eye drop prescription's going to run out, and he's going to want to know, hey, what happened to all of my treats? I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike Rutherford.